Hi friends, this is another chandamama story of 1950s. The name is In Search of a Throne. Sudarshan of Malwa was an exceedingly handsome lad, but he was utterly poor. He spent all his boyhood at Banaras getting educated. When his education was finished, he started for his home country. He made the long journey on foot and in a course of time he reached a town called Purandar. By the time he entered the town, it was already dark. Sudarshan did not like the idea of going from house to house begging for food and shelter. He went straight to the king's place and told the king, "Sir, I am a foreigner and a guest. Give me food and shelter tonight. I shall be on my way tomorrow." The king of Purandar was very much pleased with the handsome boy with the bold talk and agreed to play host to him. When the boy went to have a refreshing bath, the queen said to the king, "I feel this boy is no ordinary lad. He must be a prince in disguise. Do find out who he is. He will make an excellent husband for our daughter." "If he is really a prince in disguise," said the king, "he will not reveal himself even if we ask him. His secret must be discovered without his knowledge. Let me consult our minister." "That can be easily ascertained," said the minister to the king. "I can find out whether he is a prince or a common person, but not in one night. I want time. Keep him here for a couple of days." So at dinner, the king turned to this young guest and said, "I am afraid you cannot go away tomorrow, my boy. My daughter's birthday falls tomorrow, and you must stay for the celebration. You can go later." Meanwhile, the minister arranged a hot bed for Sudarshan in a room. He called a night watchman and said to him, "Keep an eye on the guest. You must report to me in the morning whether he has slept well." After dinner, Sudarshan was shown into this bedroom. He closed the door, sat on the bed, and removed his shirt in order to lie down and go to sleep. As he lifted the shirt, several green peas dropped down from its pockets and got scattered all over the bed and the floor. It happened this way. Being a poor boy, Sudarshan was always careful about his needs. That morning he saw lots of peas while passing by a field. He plucked a lot of pods, took out the green peas, and filled both of his pockets with them. It was not unusual for him to sustain himself on such diet when he could not find food. Now these wretched peas were all over the place and created a problem. The king had been very well disposed to him, and the servants should not find these peas tomorrow, otherwise the king would come to know about it and treat him with less respect. So Sudarshan began to collect each single pea on the bed. Then he lifted the bed sheet and shook it. Having cleared the bed, he proceeded to crawl about on the floor and collect all the peas that fell there. It was past midnight by the time Sudarshan collected all the peas. He did not know what to do with them. Though he was already full with the king's food, Sudarshan proceeded to eat the peas slowly one by one. 3 quarters of the night was gone by the time he went to sleep. "How did our guest sleep last night?" the minister asked the night watchman. "Sir," said the watchman, "the young gentleman did not have a wink of sleep. I heard him shaking the bed sheets and prowling in the room until the first cock." The minister was satisfied. He went to the king and said to him, "Sir, this boy is no common person. I shall not be surprised if he is the son of a monarch." What the minister said was confirmed when the king and queen found that Sudarshan hardly ate a morsel of the rich fare that was placed before him. They did not know that the peas had spoiled his appetite. The next night, the minister arranged a fine feather bed, and Sudarshan, who was ready to sleep even on a bare rock, slept like a log in the soft and cozy feather bed. "There is no longer any occasion for the least doubt," said the minister to the king and queen. "My only fear is that the young prince may not care to marry our princess." "Nonsense," said the queen. "Pretending to be a commoner, he dare not refuse our daughter. In any case, find out his opinion." The minister took Princess Indumati to Sudarshan and suggested that he should marry her. At first, Sudarshan was overcome with surprise, but later he consented to marry the princess. The king and the queen were very happy. Soon, Princess Indumati was married to the destitute Sudarshan. For a whole year, Sudarshan enjoyed a life which he could not have dreamed for. Then his troubles started. One day, Indumati said to her husband, "How long are we to remain here? Let us go to your kingdom." "Our kingdom?" Sudarshan repeated in amazement. "Yes," she replied. "You need not pretend anymore. Even before we were married, I knew that you were a prince." She told him about the tests devised by the minister in order to make sure that he was a prince. When he heard this, Sudarshan was amazed. But now it was up to him to show her a kingdom or to confess the truth. Sudarshan loved his wife too well to hurt her by blurting out the truth. He would start out with her and keep wandering until the truth dawned on her. One fine morning, Indumati and Sudarshan took leave of the king and queen of Purandar and started upon their aimless travel. Weeks and months passed. The young couple moved from one village to another and from one country to another. Indumati was certain that she was going to her husband's place, but she did not know where it was and what it was. She bore the hardships of the travel without complaining. She never once asked her husband, "Where are we going?" Several times Sudarshan had a great urge to leave his sleeping wife and go away in order to put an end to this problem. But from day to day his love for his uncomplaining wife was growing, and he did not have the heart to desert her. At the end of 6 months, they arrived in the city of Kalinga. There Sudarshan sold one of his wife's ornaments and they lodged with a poor woman. The poor woman looked at the couple with some surprise, for in spite of the hardships of the journey, Indumati still looked a princess, but the boy intrigued the old woman. Some 15 years back, the prince of Kalinga was kidnapped by robbers. The old woman thought that the boy would be the same age as Sudarshan if he was still alive. She suspected that this boy was the kidnapped prince. To make sure, the old woman took Indumati aside and asked her, "Who are you, my dear, and what is your husband?" "I am Princess Indumati of Purandar. My husband is a prince in disguise," said the girl. "Which place is he the prince of?" the old woman asked again. "I don't know, but we are going there," Indumati replied. The old woman's suspicion was confirmed. She went to see the king and told him, "Your Majesty, a boy is lodging in my house with his wife. I have a feeling that he may be our prince whom the robbers kidnapped several years ago. Can you bring the couple here once?" The king asked the old woman. That evening, the old woman took Sudarshan and Indumati to the palace. Both the king and queen of Kalinga were overcome with joy when they saw the Sudarshan. The king thought there was a strong resemblance between his wife and the boy, while the queen said her husband looked exactly like the boy at the time of her marriage. "God has given us back our son," they said. Sudarshan agreed to be their son and stayed with them. Soon after, Sudarshan was crowned as the future king of Kalinga. When this news reached Purandar, the minister said, "Didn't I tell you how lucky we are to have with Prince of Kalinga for a son-in-law?" That's the end of the story, guys. Hope